Ex-prisoners of Reddit, what is the nicest thing you have seen people do in prison? I was in jail with a guy named Cowboy. Cowboy had done a few stays and had plenty of stories. The one that stuck with me was when a fellow inmate was depressed because he was missing his birthday. So what all the other inmates did was use a bunch of their commissary to buy a handful of honey buns, some M&Ms and some chocolate, mix the honey buns with water and mash them together, melt the chocolate in their hot pot, then squeeze them onto the buns and cover it with the M&Ms. I don't know how to spell it out. Candy coated chocolate. It wasn't much, but it made the guy cry apparently. Jail here. Made friends very quickly. Had conversations of our love lives, and my friend bought me hot sauce in exchange for my breakfast, which I gave regardless. He just wanted to do something back. Shared saltiness which we peppered to hell while watching Ghost Hunter. I became a bit institutionalized. Really got a life's simple pleasures vibe. I was probably lucky. I was in the Denver City jail for a stay of a few days. When I came in, I was deliberately ready to crash from a binge. When you come out of a crash like that, you generally crave sugar. Good luck with that in jail, but I wanted to sleep through the time. Well, I slept for 3 or 4 days as expected, waking only for meals. My cellies, who did not know me and never would know me, woke me to eat. When I finally came off the crash and woke up for real, there were half a dozen oranges in my bunk. The guys had saved their orange ration for 2 days, so I'd have the sugar and carbs my body was desperate for. Other people did nice things for me, but that was really kind of them, and I a stranger to them. I was in a small county jail for like a week. I was an emotional and scared wreck, and my cellmate lent me her shampoo for a nice shower. When I was done, she used her rollers to curl my hair, plucked my eyebrows with string, shared her juice, and played Uno with me all night. Just pampered the hell out of me. Really changed my perspective on things, honestly. Not a prisoner, but when we were kids, we went to a police station as a community trip. Before the trip, the parents said the prisoners there were dangerous, but honestly, they weren't. One of the activity there was that we would be partnered up with a prisoner, and I was paired up with a guy who did drugs before getting caught. I was scared, yes, but he was pretty sweet. He drew me a picture of me and him. He said he missed his kids and I remind him a lot of his shy daughter. We had fun the whole trip, and when we were leaving, he snuck the drawing into my bag. I still have the picture till this day. I had a relative who was in prison in the 90s. He was at 2 prisons during the time, but the artists there were amazing. They would draw precious moments characters on paper and fold it to make a card for other prisoners' kids. They would use water and a brush to lift the ink from newspaper comics to watercolor paint the cards. I thought how sweet that these artists care about others guys' kids so much to use their talent to make them special cards for their birthdays. My uncle was in prison in the 90s too. At one point he was in with an own hitman. This bloke was big news. You had to hide under a rock to not know about him. The media portrayed him as evil personified. My mum forgot to bring coins for the vending machine, and, being a tiny child with a clear view of candy, I wanted a Mars bar. Mum said no, because she didn't have the money, but if I could wait a little, she'd get me one on the way home. Anyway, our visit coincided with the big bad guy getting a visit too. He asked his guest if he could borrow a couple bucks, asked my mum if it was okay, and took me to the vending machine to pick out whatever treat I wanted. He was genuinely lovely, and my uncle told me later the bloke was always really polite to staff and people on work duties. The biggest part of human self-respect in prison is giving everyone time and space to walk slow if they need to, use the pop machine I rushed, use a working microwave without getting rushed. Everyone is moving straight their own time, and seeing the respect related to that was and is a contributing factor to myself. During a rather short detainment, while awaiting a bail hearing, I ended up in a holding cell with about 10 or so other prisoners. This old lad had managed to smuggle in some tobacco and rolling papers, and someone else somehow got a box of matches in. The old lad with the tobacco just started offering everyone cigarettes, while we all waited to be called out for our hearings. Kept everything nice and chill and calmed down some of the lads in there who were looking for trouble. After I was bailed, I ran into one of the lads from the holding cell on the street a few hours later, which was mildly unsettling, but we just chatted a bit and wished each other the best of luck in our upcoming trials. The biggest thing I learned from the whole, relatively brief, experience is that just treating everyone as a human being, be they a guard or a fellow prisoner, gets you treated well in return, and avoids any hassle. Had another comment on the other recent prisoners posts of r/AskReddit, so I'll comment here too. Was a correctional officer, had a frog hop into the dormitory common area from outside. No inmate would pick it up, save one. He picked it up, cradling it, and giving little pets and pats. I asked if he planned on keeping it as a pet. He said, "I don't like being locked up in here. I'm not going to do the same to this poor frog." So I then allowed him to take it outside to set it free. Was a sad moment, to be honest. This guy had a swastika tattooed on his damn throat, but still just wanted to get out and lead a normal life, and wanted that frog to do the same. Thank you for watching Internet's Funniest. Please like, share, and subscribe.